Hello and welcome back to another exciting session of macro practice class. So what we're going to be doing today is talking about how you foster participation in organizations, specifically participation in organizational change. So we're going to discuss why participation is important, how we foster and encourage it. We're going to tie it into the Rothman model that you learned in the last video. And that's about it. So when we talk about the concept of participation, normally I would ask you what participation means. Participation, in short, is involvement. It involves being a part of something outside of yourself. Do you participate in your family's life? Do you participate in social outings? Well, not now you don't, but do you participate in task meetings? So participation is central to practice because it's really important when we're working in an organization that the work we're doing has the input of everybody that's at the table and that everybody has a seat at the table. So you can't really have a democratic type of organization without the participation of everybody involved. Grassroots participation is essential to community development because grassroots movements are usually start informally and come out of some identified community need. So in order to start a grassroots movement like Occupy Wall Street, like the Me Too movement, it had to come out of people who were basically living their life as part of the social problem. You have the concept of volunteerism, which I'm sure you heard of. Volunteerism, again, is when people just volunteer without being asked to participate. And that's a really good thing because people who volunteer for things do it because it's something that they want to do, not necessarily something that they feel obligated to do. It's something that they feel moved to do to improve the world around them. It's really important for policy formation, and it's really important for program implementation. Participation can also be mobilization of the masses, even in terms of something like voting participation. If you have the legal right to vote, do you exercise that right? Participation could be a goal in itself because participation provides channels for empowerment by letting people be a part of something, and participation promotes community unity. Participation is really important because no organization can be effective without the maximum participation of its stakeholders. There's a couple reasons for that. You want the people, especially the people who are clients and the people who are really providing services, to have buy-in to what the organization is doing and to have commitment to the goals of the organization. Likewise, you want to have a democratic values so that, again, everybody feels like they have a voice in what's happening. Even if there is a power hierarchy where there are people who in designated leadership roles that do inherently have more power, people need to at least know that there's a chance that their voice is going to be heard and honored. Participation, though, can also be detrimental, especially if it's forced or coerced participation. Think about how this ties into the social work competencies and the code of ethics. In terms of the competencies, part of your competencies are learning how to assess, work with, and evaluate groups, communities, and organizations. How can you do that if you don't participate in the process? And as far as our code of ethics, participation is central to what we do. It's part of service. We talk about social justice. We talk about righting the wrongs of the world. That all involves you being participants in the process, and client self-determination involves encouraging clients to be participants in their own situation and change that impacts them. Research shows us that participation varies directly with perceived benefits and degree of dependence on participation. So there are 4 important sources of benefits as payoff for participation. One is the achievement of specific goals. Another is rewarding the achievement of goals. So if you are at work and there's a goal that you want to reach, sometimes there can be rewards just in reaching the goal of, say, seeing 100 clients in a month. That's great. But then what if there's a secondary goal that if you see 100 clients in a month, you get $1,000 bonus? That's another type of reward for your participation. You can also reward structural devices and entities, such as your organization getting a cash award for something that they've done. There's also a reward in participating in informal cliques, because most of the time, if you're part of an organization, you are going to often be part of some informal social group within the organization. Your participation in that group and that identity can also be rewards for your overall participation. Research has also shown that low-income individuals participate more when there are direct and immediate benefits. That's more now oriented. And the reason for that is because people who are lower income have more acute needs than people who with more financial stability. So when you think about it right now, think of what you see happening with Congress with this potential stimulus package. The issue is that people are losing their jobs right now and they need money right now. So imagine trying to get people to participate in something and telling them, well, maybe someday you'll get something out of this. If they have all these other pressing needs to take care of, they're not going to spend some of their time on participating in your organization for something that may or may not ever happen. Low-income individuals also prefer opportunities for spontaneous and expressive behavior. Part of the reason for that is that people who have lower socioeconomic status have often been told, either formally or informally, that they are not allowed to express how they feel and think. Most participation occurs when the benefits are clearly and directly tied to participation. So people expect a quid pro quo, which I know you've heard a lot of in the news in recent days. If I do this, I will get this out of it. If I do this for you, you will do this for me. There's a few different types of benefits. You have instrumental benefits, which are material, something you can touch and hold, task-oriented, and tangible. It can be either something that you get in your hand right now, a gift card for doing a survey, or it could be something small now that leads to a larger tangible reward in the future. You also have something called expressive benefits, which are intangible benefits and more psychological in nature and tied to feelings of empowerment and fulfillment. Those are social interpersonal, so what you get from just having interaction with people in the process of change, as well as symbolic. What does the change mean to you, and what does it mean to you to be part of it happening? So fostering participation can often involve behavior modification. The reason for that is that people live their lives in patterns. So in order to get people to participate in something outside of their everyday life, you need to modify the behavior that leads them adhering to patterns. So there has to be a rate of the behavior. So how often is it going to happen? Form, what does the behavior look like? Duration, for how long is this going to go on? And variability. Should we expect changes in how this is going to be expected, or is this how it's always going to be? You need to have positive reinforcement for participation. You may need to contract with people, a physical piece of paper that says, I agree to do this for this amount of time, like some volunteer work involves that. You may have to shape what that participation looks like. And you may have to have behavior extinction, meaning that if you see behaviors occurring in the group, you need to work that are opposed to the actual purpose of the change, then you need to work to get rid of them. So the pattern of implementing participation is goal determination first. Do you want to form new groups or maintain or change existing participation? Selecting your benefits. What are going to be the most effective benefits to get people to do the work, and what's the most feasible to actually give them? You have to make initial contact with your potential participants. Make follow-up contact. So you would make initial contact. Are you interested in doing this? Maybe 2 weeks later. Okay, you had said you were interested in doing this, so this is the next step. And then you have to actually follow through and deliver the benefits and the operation of the change. You can't promise things to get people to participate and not deliver. So some words of wisdom: make sure the benefits are meaningful and significant. Even if the benefits may not be that important in reality, they have to be perceived as important. The benefits could be potential benefits and not things in the here and now. So if you're doing something for to help a community, looking at the water issue in Flint. Let's say you go into Flint and you say, I want you to work on this political action campaign so that we can improve the state of water in Flint. No one is going to expect that you can make that happen in 2 days. It's for a potential payoff. You need to have interim short-range benefits to keep people interested. The guideline cannot exist independent of overall practice skills. So you also need to have your regular skills of engaging people. You have to give yourself ample time to get things done and be realistic with how long things are going to take. You need to expect to encounter organizational obstacles. And it's not always easy to determine benefits because benefits may look and be perceived differently by different people and different social entities. There must be some tangible benefit. You have to use lots of follow-up, especially personal contact. And don't ever put all your eggs in one basket for participation. Have a few potential outlets to get participants for what you're doing. So if you look at the PowerPoint, similar to how you had in the last lesson, there's the Rothman Action Guideline. This is a model for participation. So read that over, know what that looks like. And that is all I have for you this time. So this was an overview of how to get people to participate in organizational change. I hope you're all doing well and you're staying healthy, and I'll see you next time.